Okay. Ugh. Okay. Oh. Well. There is no sound. What the fuck? There we go. Wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels of the bus go round and round. Can I switch seats? I want to switch seats. No, I'm stuck on the seat. Huh? Is anyone behind me? Am I alone here? I'm alone here. Oh man, bus driver man, bus driver man, bus driver. Hi. Distracting the bus driver. Why is there a suitcase on the road? Just driver man falling asleep. Oh, these chairs are uncomfortable. I don't put new cushions in. Look, there's no stuffy in there anymore. That's wood right there. I'm sitting on wood. I'm sorry, be quiet. Sorry, sorry.
Thank you all for joining the program. I'm here with author and magician Penn Jillette. Penn, we're talking today about your work with Vera Simulators.
Back in the 90s, Janet Reno was Attorney General for
The United States.
President Bill Clinton. Remember the Waco thing? That was Janet Reno.
There was an attack on the compound?
Yeah. Well, she...
Hello, thank you all for joining the program. I'm here with author and magician Penn Jillette. Penn, we're talking today about your work with Vera Simulators.
Back in the 90s, Janet Reno was
Attorney
General for
the United States.
President Bill Clinton. Remember the Waco thing? That was Janet Reno.
There was an attack on the compound?
Yeah. Well, she was very anti-video game, as was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, your dad, everybody. So I gave a speech where she said that they should have video games that dealt with regular jobs, prepare people for the workplace. So her idea for video games was that the video games would be educational. Now, by educational, what Janet Reno means is making you a proletariat, getting you as a worker. And she said instead of, simulators that we usually have, like tanks and planes and race cars and submarines and hedgehogs, they would get you ready for a real job. So she stated this, and I was listening with Eddie Gorodetsky, who writes on situation comedies. He writes on Two and a Half Men, and he writes on, Mom is his show. He created that show, and we're on Letterman and Saturday Night Live, and also was writing with us on this video game called Smoke and Mirrors. And Eddie said that we both heard the Janet Reno speech together, and we were laughing about how stupid it was. And Eddie said, well, let's do what she wants us to do. So Eddie said the idea Desert Bus, and then we brainstormed on it. And the idea was for Janet Reno, we would give you a chance to actually learn what it would be like to drive a bus 360 miles from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada. 45 miles per hour maximum speed. It takes 8 hours to drive it if you do it right. And there's a little bit of a pull to the right. It's not glamorous, it's not pretty, it's not exciting. It's real. And we put this out, and I think a bug hits the windshield at one point, like 4 hours in. You just drive. And it pulls to the right. And if you go off the road, it just overheats, and then you get towed back in real time. And you get 1 point for doing an 8-hour shift. So mind numbingly real. I should also point out that you can open and close the door of the bus, but no one's in any of the bus stops. You can't get on, no one gets on, no one gets off. You just drive the bus. So Randy Pitchford at Gearbox. Well, first of all, Desert Bus never came out.
It was created but never distributed?
That's right, never came out. I think the company that put out Desert Bus, there was a market correction and they went out of business.
So how is it possible that it is a known entity being recreated for this project?
Well, let me tell you. The reason is that it was bootlegged. It came out and it got very popular in its bootleg form. People had leaked and they started putting it on different platforms. And this group of Canadians started a thing called Desert Bus for Hope. And they raised money for Child's Play, which
It's a charity.
That buys video games for children in hospitals for a long time. And they started driving Desert Bus for charity for 50 hours at a time, just racking up those points. They got like 5, 6, 7 points, amazing numbers. And we would send them pizzas and stuff. And Randy Pitchford heard about that and wanted to put out Desert Bus 2.0. VR version. He wanted full VR. So he bought the bus. As a matter of fact, if you're listening to this, they're going to be using it on the bus. So this will be the first thing you'll hear on your radio. And they bought the bus.
That's exciting.
And they scanned it. And if you are listening to this on the bus now, you've been going, what, 5, 10 minutes? Pretty much 8 hours still to go. Radio is not going to get that good a reception. Eddie also had other ideas that we turned down for his...
Terror simulators?
Yeah, parasimulator. He wanted to do Toll Collector.
Mm-hmm.
We do an 8-hour shifts to Toll Collector. Portrait Sitter, which I thought was a really good one. You sit, have your portrait drawn. And Bird Watcher, which I rejected Bird Watcher as being way too interesting. Because you don't make money bird watching, you know.
No.
So 360 miles, you probably got now, the speed you're going, you probably got 355 miles to go. You'll be driving a little bit. And we got it really accurate.
Do you think you will accomplish Janet Reno's suggestion?
Well, the question is, someone who does Desert Bus, would they then be prepared to drive a Desert Bus? No. Much like when you play any of these games she doesn't like, you're not qualified to use a weapon. You don't know how to load a gun, or you're hitting buttons. That's not the way guns run. You know how guns run?
I have never fired a weapon.
Yeah, you have to load them and stuff. So you don't know how to do any of the stuff you see in a video game. You don't really know how to do it. I don't know. Do you think if someone does a simulator on an airplane, that if you're flying in a commercial airliner and the pilot goes unconscious, you can take over? I think there's a Flight of the Phoenix. There's a movie where they're trying to get out of the place and they built an airplane. And turns out the guy who builds the airplane only built model airplanes before. I think that's the big punchline.
I'm not familiar with the work.
Why would you be? I don't think it was a very successful movie. They remade it though. It wasn't successful there. I think Hugh Laurie was in the remake.
Is there
I didn't see it.
any thought given to the luggage capacity on this bus?
Well, you have a bus.
Right.
Randy scanned the bus.
So that you'd be able to open the bottom compartment?
I don't think you can. I think you just sit in the seat. But Randy bought a bus, and they they scanned the bus in. So this one should be very accurate. See, Randy wanted to call the Desert Bus 2.0. And I wanted to call it Desert Bus 1.002. Because I wanted there to be a lot of room for big improvements. But Randy says that this is, I haven't done it yet when we're recording this, but Randy says it'll be great. So this is what Janet Reno wants out of a video game.
How successful does the game have to be for Gearbox for us to anticipate Total Collector or Portrait Sitter?
I don't know. It seems like it had to be pretty successful. By the way, this version is set up to only be for charity. I don't think we're selling this. It's going to be, most people that are hearing this now will be playing for charity. I just want you to know, is the charity worth how long you're going to sit here? It'll be a really, really long time. Did you ever play Desert Bus?
I've only watched others play.
Yeah. For 8 hours?
I don't think I made the duration of the trip.
Yeah, 8 hours in a bus, driving, pulls to the right.
What's the longest you've played it?
Like a minute and a half. I wouldn't get to this part. Minute and a half, maybe 2.
What is the longest you've driven any kind of vehicle?
I've driven across the country a few times. I went with Eddie Gorodetsky, as a matter of fact. We drove a U-Haul trailer from Los Angeles to New York. We drove the whole way. At the time, Eddie Gorodetsky didn't have a license, so I drove the whole way. And he was just sitting there. And we wrote a script during that time called I Came from Space. And we wrote it while we were driving, and we turned it into the production company that had commissioned it. And we got a great comment on it. The producer said to us, I don't think I could have understood this less if it were written in another language. Actually said that. There's some damage done from driving for hours and hours and hours and hours. And this is damage that if you're listening to this, you'll be doing to yourself. At some point, I think a bug will hit the windshield. I don't want to get you too excited, but I think it's going to happen somewhere along the line.
Right.
Is that based on a true event?
The bug? Yeah. Bugs hit the windshields. They do. Bugs hit the windshields. Or, I don't know, maybe the windshield hits the bug. I guess that's true, isn't it? What do we call what hits what? You see that the windshield, the bug compared to the bus is almost stationary, right?
Have any animal rights groups contacted you or Gearbox upset with the treatment of bugs in the game?
Well, it's a virtual bug. We don't think we scanned an actual bug. I don't think a bug was hurt. I don't know. But if they have a problem with it, we can take the bug out of the Desert Bus.
Seems like a lot of thought was put into the bus, the dimensions of the bus, being the bus accurate, but not so much so with the bug that hits the windshield.
Yeah, actually, I just said the word bug. I didn't even think about what kind of bug. I just said bug.
Whether it should be accurate to a desert environment, kind of like a would hit your windshield in the desert.
It should be, shouldn't it, really? Although now, with all these, we've moved species all around the world. There's all these species that are endemic. I mean, maybe if the bug looks like it is not a bug that's endemic to the natural environment, then you could just maybe think that bug came over on a, hitchhiking on a airliner or something, and maybe it's not going to be able to reproduce, or maybe it will reproduce like that. What's that weed that kind of took over California? Not aware. Okay, the king toads in Australia. You know about that? How about those mollusks that took over the river in New York?
10 miles.
is a bug, a species. So a plant is not a bug, or a frog is not a bug, but sometimes a species will get into. I believe the rats that we have in New York are Norwegian rats originally. Now they live here, and I believe that the cockroaches that we have here, there's American cockroaches, and there's the Madagascar hissing roaches sold some pet and they get out into the soup. I wanted to get some stick insects for my tank at home. Do you know what stick insects are?
I've seen them, yeah.
They're big, for insects.
They're not typically kept as a pet.
They are kept as pets. Pretty often in the UK. There was a show they had in the UK, this is true, called That's My Stick Insect. It was a department on a show, it wasn't the whole show. And they got 3 people who owned stick insects as pets and put their stick insects in cages that were not labeled, different cages. And if the people could identify their stick insect, they were to win a lot of money. They couldn't do it. But I used to have stick insects in my home in Vegas. I loved them. They're about the length of a hot dog, and they look like a stick, but they're really an insect. And they like to eat eucalyptus leaves. But I wanted to get some for the tank we have now because I thought the children would enjoy them. And stick insects, you have to be very careful. You have to have a special license for a stick insect.
Really?
The double O is the license to kill. The license to own a stick insect is a different number.
God, I'm scared myself.
It's not like 007.
That's me.
Own stick insects, maybe like 342. License to own stick insect.
I'm jumping on the side of the road.
It's not a stick insect, but they're afraid if the stick insects get out into the wild, then we might have more stick insects than we want. I'm a guy that wants stick insects, but there's still probably a limit on the number.
We are taking a break from my interview with Penn Jillette to invite you to become a sponsor. So please support the station any way you can. If you enjoy interviews like the one we're hearing now, please consider being a sponsor for our programming, either online or over the telephone. And now more with Penn Jillette, author and magician.
And also one of the creators of Desert Boss, although it was Eddie Gordetsky's original idea. I talked to Eddie and he said he had a lot of credits, but he certainly wanted the credit on Desert Bus. Here's the thing that I find interesting on Desert Bus is we've been talking maybe 15 minutes. There's really nothing else to say that I can think of. And there's probably another 7 hours and 45 minutes of driving the bus.
Should drivers of the automobile be concerned about...
It's not an automobile, it's a bus.
Oh, thank you.
It's a bus.
It's not an
It's called
automobile,
Desert
it's a bus.
Yes.
It's not called Desert Automobile. Desert Bus.
Should drivers of the desert bus
It's a bus. It's a bus.
be concerned about their petroleum purpose?
I think we go on one tank all the way. I think it's one tank. I don't think we put that in, although maybe, this highfalutin Desert Bus knows what people to put there. But I think we talk about 360 miles. Seems like a bus could do 360 on one tank of gas. Then you maybe refuel and then you go back the other way. I don't know.
There's no bio-break or anything for the driver.
No. There's the rest areas are like 200 miles apart. I think you have to find somewhere else to take the joystick in with you when you're leaving yourself. You can hold the joystick, hold a little bit to the left so it doesn't pull to the right. But mostly it's just meant to be as tedious as real life.
And it's from Vegas or to Vegas?
Well, it's both. You start out in Tucson, drive to Vegas, get to Vegas, drive to Tucson. Get to Tucson, drive to Vegas. Get to Vegas, drive to Tucson. Get to Tucson, drive to Vegas. Get to Vegas, drive to Tucson. Get to Tucson, drive to Vegas. Then you go from Vegas to Tucson. Then you get to Tucson, you go back to Vegas. Well, it's not really back to Vegas because you started out in Tucson. So then your aim is back in Vegas to, I lost track. Started to,
Yeah, I think you're at Tucson.
go to Vegas. Get to Vegas, go to Tucson. And we're supposed to, we're hoping to use the desert bus that we had bought to scan to actually drive from Tucson to Vegas in a non-simulator but a real desert bus. And then for the highest score people on this game, we'll all get together, like 50 of us, and drive in the desert bus really to Vegas and then see the Penn and Teller show.
That would be exciting.
Really exciting. Vegas. That would just be Tucson to Vegas.
Right.
We wouldn't do Vegas to Tucson after.
You were done.
No, just Tucson to Vegas.
What if I'm on the bus and I parked in Tucson and I went to Vegas? My car is now still in Tucson.
Maybe there's another app we can learn called Rideshare. You can virtually drive from Las Vegas in like a Lyft or an Uber or something back to Tucson.
From my actual car is in Tucson.
The virtual car would be all the actual cars in Tucson. We'd have to drive it. Maybe you'd have to get a real Rideshare back. Or maybe a bus. Because this is a route that a real bus would drive. Or maybe, what kind of car you have?
It's a Toyota Corolla.
What year?
2011.
What kind of mileage you got on it?
Approaching 80,000.
I don't mean the miles on it. What kind of mileage and miles per gallon?
Highway or regular?
Well, the Tucson to
RV highway.
highway mostly, yeah.
Get up to 35.
Really?
Yeah.
You ever drive one of those Priuses?
I have driven a Prius, yeah.
What do they get?
Certainly more.
Yeah, more by a lot.
Who are the Penn and Teller of Tucson?
Just a Penn and Teller.
Right. But if I drive back to Tucson, no one else will see a show.
I'd maybe see a movie. I don't think they have a thriving theater community. Maybe they do. I don't know. But if you ask me who the Penn and Teller Tucson is, it's Penn and Teller. We're,
No,
yeah. I think they've heard of us in Tucson.
I don't know what movie I'd see if I went to Tucson.
Well, it'll be a different movie. Maybe now. I've heard Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'd sort of like to. That's James Gunn. It's a good movie. I'd see that.
That's one with the talking raccoon.
I also want to see the James Baldwin movie. That's what I would see if it's still in theaters. There's a movie about James Baldwin. It's good. I would think it's good. I haven't seen it. I don't really see movies that much anymore.
Because of all the work you've been putting into Desert Bus.
I haven't done very much work at all. I think most of the work I've done on Desert Bus, you've been here for in the room. That's what's kind of weird about it, because I'm talking about it here and I don't know much about it really. But anyway, that's Desert Bus.
I want to thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Please, any other projects you have coming up, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
I'm a big
Oh,
fan.
keep
Thanks a
talking.
lot.
God, please.
I never saw you off Broadway, but I bought a program off of eBay, and I like the program a lot.
Thank you. Thanks.
School of the Air, the Australian radio school for students in rural areas. This episode of the School of the Air will be on the period known as the Great Emu War, or as some know it, the Emu War. One of the few military actions in which Australian soldiers have fought and lost the other, Vietnam War. This war was fought between a large herd of emus, a species of large flightless bird native to Australia, and former soldiers with military training and military equipment in 1932. To give a little bit of context, the soldiers who fought for Australia in World War I returned to find that many of them did not have jobs, but many of them did have large military wages accrued from the times overseas where they could not spend it. And for a long time, this managed to keep them afloat. However, as the Great Depression neared, many soon discovered that they would not have enough money to live off for them or their families. And during this time, there were many farmers who were encouraged to purchase wheat crops, as the government promised that they would provide some form of subsidy. Many ex-soldiers realized that this was an opportunity for them, and they went and bought cheap land in Western Australia, in the Campion district. And this land is arid desert and was not suitable for farming. They also invested much of their money in wheat crops, which they planted, assuming there would be the subsidy, which the politicians failed to provide. After much discussion about how to deliver said subsidy, they gave up on the idea entirely. As you know, deserts are not good for farming due to the low nutrient content of the soil. And the Australian soil in particular has many hard sandstone areas which are almost entirely devoid of nutrient content or moisture of any kind. As such, the farmers had very little yield on their wheat. And those that did had invested a lot more money than they were anticipating to